All right, this is the Applied Math Quarter 2 review. I'm going to do all the problems, but I'm kind of going at a little bit of a faster pace. So if you have any questions, please just email me and let me know which question you have some concerns on, and I'll go over it for you. So the first one I just did, I graphed it because it was already into y equals format, which is what we want. And then once you do it in the y equals, you can graph it. And then where they cross, where those 2 points cross, is the answer. Now, if it was a line like this and a line like this, it'd be no solution. Or if it was just one line, it would be infinite many solutions. Okay, the second one is going to be substitution. So what you want to do is you want to get either an x or a y all by itself. Now, if I look at this, if I just add 5 to each side, I can get x all by itself. So x is then going to equal negative 3y plus 5. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in for x up here. So it's going to be 2 times negative 3y plus 5 is equal to y minus 4. So it's going to be negative 6y plus 10 is equal to y minus 4. I'm going to minus a y on each side, so negative 7y is equal to, negative 7y plus 10 is equal to negative 4. Add, or minus 10 on each side, negative 7y is equal to negative 14. Divide negative 7 on each side, and you'll get y is equal to 2. So now that you know one of the variables, you can go back to your original equation, your original 2 equations, and either one, plug it in. So I'm just going to take this, I know what my y is, I'm just going to plug it in. So I'll plug it into the second one. So it's going to be negative 3 times 2 is equal to x minus 5. So that's going to be negative 6 is equal to x minus 5. I'm going to add 5 to each side. So that means my x is going to be equal to negative 1. Now I have to frame it in coordinates, so my answer is going to be negative 1, 2. For the third one, if none of them cross out, you need to multiply one or both of the lines to get the numbers to cross out. So I see this is just a single x. So if I multiply this by a negative 2, I will get negative 2x and then minus 4y is equal to negative 18. So then I'm done with this top equation because I just manipulated it. So now I just need to add down. So 2x and a negative 2x cross out. I'm left with negative 4 or negative 5y plus a negative 4y. So that's negative 9y is equal to negative 27 plus a negative 18. So that's going to be negative 45. So my y is going to be equal to 5. So then I go back and I'm going to plug it in to either one of those equations. The first one looks easier. So it's going to be x plus 2 times y, which is 5, is equal to 9. So x plus 10 is equal to 9. And then I'm going to subtract 10 on each side. I'm going to get x is equal to negative 1. So my very final answer is going to be negative 1, 5. Moving on, we have one where we have to write a system of equations. So writing a system of equations to model the situation. So you can solve by any method you like and then write a sentence to justify your answer. So here we got to identify our variables first. So we have algebra and then we have geometry books. So A is going to be for algebra and B is going to be for geometry. Now, if you wanted to, you could use X and Y. It's really up to you. They're just a variable that stands for something. So you paid $34 for 2 algebra books and 3 geometry books. So 2 algebra books plus 3 geometry books, it's going to equal $34. He paid $36, so we can put that right away over here, for 3 algebra books, so that'd be 3A plus 2 geometry books. What is the cost of each book? So we have these 2 equations, and we can solve by any means necessary. So looking at it, I would probably want to use elimination, because substitution, we're going to have to solve for one. It's not saying that it's not possible to do that, but it would be a little bit difficult because you would get a fraction. So I would try elimination first. Seeing the different variables, I know that I'm going to have to multiply both lines. So let's say I wanted to get rid of the A's. I'm going to have to, a number that 2 and 3 both go into would be 6. So I'm going to have to multiply the top by a -3 and the bottom by a 2. So let's multiply this and distribute in both of these. So my new line for the first one would be -6a plus -9b is equal to 3 times -34 would be 90 something, -90 something. I'm going to get my calculator out and double check. And that's going to be actually 102. So that would be -102. So then the second line, I'm going to do the same thing and just distribute this. I'm going to get a positive 6a plus 4b is going to be equal to 36 times 2, which would be 72. So then I can just add down, and what I get is that these cross out, and I have -5b is equal to, we would do -102 plus 72, and that would give us -30. So then I divide by 5 on each side, and I get that b equals a positive 30. So that means each algebra book is $30. So now, after I've done that, I can erase this. Oops, actually I don't want to do that. I only want to erase this part right here and go to my original equations. Okay, so I can pick either one of these, and I am just going to plug in what b is. And we said that b is equal to 6. So I'm going to plug in b, and I'm just going to use the first one. Again, you could use either one. So it'd be 2a plus 3 times 6 is equal to 34. So it'd be 2a plus 18 equals 34. I'd minus each side, so 34 minus 18 is 16, so 2a is equal to 16, and then divide by 2, so a is equal to 8, so the algebra book is equal to $8. And then remember, it says write a sentence. So in this sentence, you would say the cost of each book, or the cost of an algebra book is $8, and the cost of a geometry book is $6, and that's all you'd have to write. All right, so simplifying each expression. This is the part where we want to get rid of negative exponents. So I don't like that has a negative exponent, and I don't like that has a negative exponent. So I know this whole thing is over 1, so I'm going to take my x to the -2 and my y to the -5 and just bring it down. And what I get left over with is 5 over x squared y to the 5th. And that's it. You can't solve anymore. For the next one, n to the 0 is just going to be 1. So you can, anything to the 0, you can just literally cross off or just mark it as 1. So I don't like that there's an r to the -3, so I'm going to put that over 1. And I'm going to bring this down. So m to the 3 times 1, and you can put times 1 if you want to for that n to the 0, but you don't have to. And then I'm going to bring down the r to the -3, so it would just be r positive 3. All right, and then this one, 5 to the 0 is just 1 times 2 to the first power, which is 2, so it'll be 1 times 2. Your final answer would be 2. All right, so evaluate the expression knowing that a equals 2 and b equals -3. So this is our equation here. So what you can do is you can fix this equation first and then plug in. So I don't like that this has a negative exponent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that b to the negative second, and I'm going to take it and put it down, just right here. That's going to equal a to the third over b to the second. So then I can plug my numbers in here and here, and what I'm going to get is 2 to the third over negative 3 to the second. I can simplify that. 2 to the third is 8, and negative 3 to the second is 9. That's your final answer. All right, so we're evaluating the exponential function for the given value of x. So remember, in this, don't worry about like this side right here, okay? All you need to do is take this x equals 2 and put it in for where x is. So if this is 4 times 3 to the x, I'm just going to take if x equals 2, I'm going to plug that in. So I'm going to take that and plug that in right here. So order of operations says that I have to do exponents first, so it's going to be 4 times 3 to the second, which is 9. So then your final answer should be 36. All right, and then we have x equals negative 3. Don't worry about this right here. So just 3 to the x. I'm going to plug my negative 3 right here, because that's what x equals. So I'm going to get 3 to the negative 3, and I don't like that. So what I have to do is, if this is over a 1, I'm going to have to bring this down. So then that's going to be equal to, there's nothing left on top, which is just a 1 now, and that's going to be 3 to the third, which is then equal to 1 over 27. All right, so we're graphing each exponential function. Here's my XY chart. And since this right here is just like, I guess you could say, computer-generated, non-world, real-world issue problem, it's not a word problem, essentially. We're going to use the numbers negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So I know what my x is. I just need to plug each one of these in for this equation. So when I plug in the first one, I have to do 4 times 2 to the negative 2. So it'd be 4 times 2 to the negative 2. Or you could do it as 4 times 2 to the negative 2. And then you can just literally plug that into your calculator. What you should get is 1. And then for the rest of these, I'm just literally going to plug them in, but it's going to look like 2, 4, 8, and 16. So then if I graph that, the first of these are just coordinates right here. So it's going to be negative 2, 1, negative 1, 2, 0, 4, 1, 8, and then 2, 16. And then you would just draw your line connecting all these with an arrow. And that's it. That's all you got to do. All right, tell me if it's growth or decay. The number that I'm looking at right now is this one right here, so I know it's growth. The reason why it's growth is because it is greater than 1. So you want to write that in words, but since it's the growth is, or the growth, it's a growth factor, and it's greater than 1. So then the growth factor would be 1.6. Write a rule for the following scenario, then solve. Use the following equations. So if I'm looking at just this one right here, I need to know what my A is, P, R, N, and T. Now, obviously, it doesn't say compounded continuously. If you see the word continuously, you got to use that equation. But we're not using that one. So we don't know what my A is. My A is essentially what I'm going to get it back. My P is my principal, so the amount of money that I'm putting in. So $100. And then the rate is 4%. I turn that into decimal. That's 0.04. N is my number of times it's hit in a year. So if it's monthly, there's 12 months in a year. And then time is 5 years. So it'd be 5. So then all I got to do is plug it into this equation. So what the money I'm going to get back in my account, A, is equal to my principal of 100 times 1 plus 0.04 over n, which is 5, and then a parentheses, and then raised to the n times t. And I like to do this right away, just because it makes things simpler, but n times t is 12 times 5, which would be to the 60th power. I do not have a graphing, actually I do have a graphing calculator, so it'd be 100 times 1 plus, 100 times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 5, and then times 60. I'm sorry, not times 60. I gotta redo that. It's not times 60, it's raised to the 60th power. So 100, and then I would do parentheses 1 plus 0.04 divided by 5, and that'd be 1.008, I believe. And then I would have to raise that, so that would be to the 60th power. And I'm having a little bit of trouble, but if you plug this into your calculator, you should get $122 and then 10 cents. And that should be your final answer. Simplify each radical expression, so we're breaking things up. So in this 25c cubed, what I'm looking at is, can I break anything up inside under the radical? So 25 is 5 times 5, and then there's 3 c's, 1, 2, 3. So now I can bring my pairs out. So I have 2 pairs, and if it's a pair in the inside of the radical, it's just a single on the outside. Okay, so if you just had the square root of 25, that was 25 right there. 5 times 5, the square root of that is 5. So that's where we get that from. So you would take your 5 out, and then you take your c out and multiply those. So it'll be 5c, and then what's left inside the radical is c. Your next one, you're going to multiply your outside times your outside, and then your inside times your inside. So 2 times 3 is 6. Square root, 2 times 3 is 6, and then the inside is 3 times 6, which would be 18. And then you would do x to the third. What you could also do is just leave it as 3 times x times 6 times x times x. I'm just breaking this stuff apart. And then take your pairs out. But I can still break down the 6. So I would have 3 times x times 2 times 3 times x times x. So I have a pair of 3's, and then I have 1 pair of x's. So that's going to be 6 times 3 times x on the outside. And that gets rid of all of this. And on the inside, what's left is just 2x. Simplify that, that's going to be 18x square root 2x. All right, for this one, we don't like that there's a radical on the bottom, so I'm going to have to multiply both the top and the bottom by the radical 5. So I'm going to multiply radical 5, radical 5. Now what that does is that gets rid of the radical on the bottom, but you're still left with the number. So this would be 16 radical 5 over 5. So I'm still left with that number underneath the radical. And then, can I break anything up? Nope. So that's how it stays. All right, for each one of these, the sum difference product or quotient, x equals 3x minus 1, g of x equals 6x, and h of x equals 4x. So in this one, we don't worry about this at all for either one of these. All we need to do is g times h. So g is 6x, and then h is 4. So 6x times 4 is just 24x. Then for this one, I need to take f minus g. So I'm going to take f, which is 3x plus 1, and I'm going to minus g, and g is 6x. So if I do that, I get negative 3x plus 1. Find the solution of the exponential equation. So here's your hint, the bases must be the same. So I'm going to keep the smaller base. So 2 to the x minus 1 is equal to, so now if I need to find out 2 to what power is 32. So you can literally just do that in your calculator. And this might be a little bit of guesswork, but that's okay. So it should be 2 to the 4th. So this would be 2 to the 4th. Now, since the bases are the same, they cross out, but you can set the exponents equal. So x minus 1 is going to be equal to 4. So I just solve for x by adding 1, so x is going to be equal to 5. But hold on one second, I might have done that wrong. Let's just recheck real quick. So my base is, it's going to be still 2 to the x minus 1 is equal to 2. So now I need to find out 2 to what power is 32. So 2 to the 4th power is 16, so 2 to the 5th power is 32. So it's 2 to the 5th power, not the 4th power. That's where I screwed up. Bases are the same, cross them out, set these equal to one another, so it'd be x minus 1 is equal to 5, so then x is going to equal 6. All right, this one is a little bit trickier, but just know that if this is like in a fraction form, you can turn this around. So this would be like 1 over 49 is the same as 49 to the negative 1. And if you set that equal to 7 to the minus 2x plus 12, now you can work with these numbers that are not a fraction. So I'm going to keep my base. So I'm going to keep 7 negative 2x plus 12, and then I'm going to have that's equal to 7. So 7 to what power is 49? So it'll be 7 to the 7th power. So I'm going to take 7 and then multiply that by negative 1. That's still there. So what that would look like is 7 to the negative 7th is equal to 7 to the negative 2x plus 12. My bases are the same, so I can cross them out. So then that would be negative 7 is equal to negative 2x plus 12. I'm going to minus 12 on each side. So then negative 19. If I'm right, but I might be wrong again, we'll never know. Yeah, that is wrong. So it'd be negative 19 equals 2x, so I got to see where I screwed up there. 49, oh, that's what I did. It's not 7 to the 7th power, 7 squared. So this would be 7 squared, and then times the original negative 1. So that would be 7 to the negative 2nd is equal to 7 to the negative 2x plus 12. Bases cross out, so we can set the exponents equal. Negative 2 is equal to negative 2x plus 12. I'm going to minus 12 on each side, so we'll get negative 14 is equal to negative 2x. Then after that, I'm going to divide by negative 2, so I'll get x is equal to 7. And that is your final answer. All right, we got to make a histogram. So on this first one right here, I'm going to first find what my intervals are. So I got to find out my biggest number, and it looks like my biggest number is going to be 30. And then I'm going to divide that by 5. But first, actually, what I have to do is I have to do my biggest minus my smallest. That's what I forgot. So my biggest minus my smallest, which is 12. So 30 minus 12 is going to be equal to 18, I believe. So it's going to be equal to 18. And I'm going to divide that because I want to have 5 intervals. So it's going to be 3.6. I'm going to round that up to 4. So 4 is my interval, okay? So now I make my frequency chart. And if they're going to be in, a little bit too big. If they're going to be in 4s, this is my minutes. This is my frequency. So what I have to do is start with my lowest number, which was 12, and then plus 4, which would be, so it'd be 12 to 16. And then my next one would be 17 plus 4 would be to 21, 22 to 26, and then 27 to 31. Okay? So then I just have to take all my data right here and put it in here. So 12 to 16, so I normally like to do it like this. So 15 goes in here, cross it off, 22 goes there, cross it off, 19 here, 28 here, 20, 18, 12, 25, 23, 26, 30, and 15. So that's going to be 3, 3, 4, and 2. Then I make my histogram, which is just a big L. And then this is going to be my frequency. And these are going to, on the bottom is going to be my intervals. So it's going to be 12 to 16, 17 to 21, 22 to 26, 27 to 31. My frequency, the highest number is going to be 4, so I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. My first interval is going to be up to 3. My second one is also going to be 3. My third one is going to be up to 4. And my fourth one is going to be 2. And that is your histogram and frequency table. All right, find the mean, median, mode. First thing you want to do is you want to rewrite them from biggest to smallest. So I'll write it on the bottom here. It'll be, I think, 40, not 48. It'll be 42, 48, then 54, 58, 59, 62, 66, and 70. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm missing one here. I did something wrong. I have 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm missing a number here. So I got 54 right there. $54, $70, $48, $66, $59. Oh, I'm missing 71. So now I have my 9 numbers. The mean is adding all of these up and then dividing by how many numbers they are. So I'm going to add all of these up and then divide by 9. So I'm going to do 42 plus 48 plus 54 plus 58 plus 59 plus 62 plus 66 plus 70 plus 71. It's going to be 530 divided by 9. And you should get 58.88888, so I would do 58.9. The median is going to be the middle number, so I take 1 from each side until I get to the middle. So it's going to be 59. Mode is going to be the one that happens the most, so there's no mode. And then my range is my biggest minus my smallest, which should be 29. I'm going to do the same exact thing, so put these numbers in order, and then find the average, find the middle number, find the one that happens the most, and then find the range. So you should get 63.8, 63, 62, and 14. All right, we have a scatter plot and then a two-way table, and we're all done. So the scatter plot, what we need to do is, the top one's going to be my X, this is going to be my Y. So the bottom is going to be temp, and then the side is going to be sweaters. So what I need to do is take the number of lines and take my biggest number and divide it by the number of lines. So for your temperature, you should get it should be 4. So your intervals here should be 4, and then for your sweaters it should be 6. So you took your biggest number, divided by the number of lines, and then you want to round to the nearest to be able to get all of your numbers in. So that would mean that this would be 12, 16. What I can do is, if I wanted to, I could do 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, all the way up. So I know where to graph it. And if I start at 0 and this is 12, that means I'm adding each time 12. So that'd be 24, and then 36, 48, 60. Let's see here. No, I'm sorry, that wouldn't be wrong. 36 would be, and then be 48, then 60, then 72, then 84. Over here on the temperature, it'd be 4. So I could do it in, like, say, even lines of 3 or lines of 2. So if each one's worth 4, I would do 1, 2, every third line. And what I would do there is that, even though you normally want to start from your smallest number, we're starting at 0. So each line is 4, so this is going to be 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, is going to be 72, and then 84. And then your points should be something along the lines of something like that, with a trend line going down. So you're going to have a negative correlation. All right, two-way frequency table. If there's 2 variables, so we have male students and female students, so there's 2 variables on one, and then there's action movies and comedies on the other. I can just make a big graph like this. And what I want to do is do 3 lines this way, and then 3 lines this way. Just remember that this one's going to be blank. Don't put anything in there. This one's going to say total. And that's supposed to be an L. And this one's going to be total. So then what I can do is I can label my subgroups. So this is going to be male, and then female, and then we have comedy and action. So if I just read along, it says that 13, or where's this here? 20 male students and 30 female students. Okay, I know there's a total of 50. 13 of the male students said they preferred action movies. So I can just go to my action or comedy. That's going to be 13. And 7 said they preferred comedies. So that would be 7. So then if I do 13 plus 7, that's going to be 20 right there. Of the female students, 20 preferred comedy. We don't know what this is. But we do know that there was a total of 30 females. So now every time you have 2 of something, you can solve. So I would just take 30 minus 20. So that means there's 10 left who like action. And then if I add across, this would be 27. And this would be 23. And that is it. If you have any questions, email me. Okay? I can send you a video on anything specific. And just let me know. Otherwise, good luck on the exam, and I will see you next week.